What are some of the ways that you've found that losing a sibling from abortion impacts the surviving sibling? Because you said you did your whole research project on this. So, what are some things that you found?
So, firstly, there's like a lot of theoretical models, that I put together, and I was actually just rereading my paper before this podcast just to jog my memory on it all,
Mhm.
because I graduated a couple years ago. But one of the interesting ones to me was the survivor's guilt, and the link to like generational trauma. So, um, what I said earlier about survivor's guilt, this like feeling of, why did I survive? Why didn't my siblings survive? Especially in my story, both me and my sibling were born of immigrant parents, and my mom chose life, and her mom or his mom did not choose life, and that was a difficult thing. But then, like coupled with PTSD like symptom, it can't quite be PTSD because oftentimes, like, when you think of PTSD, it's a moment
Mhm.
event, right? That you kind of flash back to, that you have dreams about, that there's images or sounds that kind of come to mind regarding this instant. And that's the thing that it kind of, it almost grounds the experience. There's like a one-time event or, maybe several times events, but there's pictures and there's, sounds. Um, Regarding the sibling loss to abortion, Dr. Ney found that it was more like a gradual process, because for me, I think I understand what he means by it because I didn't meet my biological father until I was 22, and later found out that he had an abortion with a woman after my mom. Um, my experience of gradual grief or this kind of PTSD like experience wasn't a moment. It was like a timeline continuum of like um, things unfolding over time. And a lot of sibling survivors, they have this kind of innate knowing. They can have dreams, but it might not be like dreams that you think of with PTSD, where it's like there's a moment you're flashing back to. It's more like these kind of uh, uh, metaphoric dreams. And let me see if I can remember an example of someone that I've spoken with before. Um, yeah, I know someone who had a dream that they were playing in a sandbox with some children, and they just had this feeling like, oh my gosh, these are my siblings. And then the sandbox just kind of like quicksand and like took the other three children in the sandbox, and they kind of went to their mom and they're like, mom, this is such a crazy dream. I just had this dream about these kids that I knew were my siblings, but they died. And they found out that day when they shared that dream with their mom that their mom had three
Mm.
abortions. And so there's just this weird, like innate knowledge sometimes for siblings. Or another girl that I know, she used to count her family members. Like anytime they'd go on trips, she would just count, 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 count. And she like knew in her mind, this is like everyone, okay, everyone's here. But she always felt this feeling of, um, someone's missing. Someone's missing. She would count everyone to make sure no one was missing. And later on in life, when she found out she had a sibling die by abortion, um, that's when she found out, oh, that's why I always felt like someone was missing. Um, Another person I'm thinking of, uh, they said like their parents also, they were getting divorced when she was 5 years old or so, and she said she would go in the bathroom, turn on the shower, and just look in the mirror and cry. She would cry, and she would always wonder like, oh, maybe I'm just really sad. Like later in life she was, thinking about it, why maybe I was sad because of my parents divorce. But when she found out about her siblings abortion, she put it in her mind like, oh, I was a child who was born in a womb of death.
Mm.
And it was something innate about her body knew that. And she felt that loss, and she said she actually, it made sense to her that her sadness was so profound, because it wasn't just about the divorce, it was about all these other factors in her mind. So to go back to the main point, that this like feeling of kind of lifelong PTSD, more gradual, it's usually the moment of finding out that kind of like clicks into place something for people, because there's always this kind of like background knowledge somehow